I've been having these weird thoughts lately. Like, is any of this for real? Or not?
The chosen wielder of the mysterious Keyblade, Sora from Kingdom Hearts. The boy from Destiny Islands with the biggest smile and the biggest heart to back it up. What can I say about Kingdom Hearts that hasn't already been said? It's a crossover series between Disney and Final Fantasy with high-paced gameplay and a story about as needlessly convoluted as a high school calculus class. Love it or hate it, you can't deny that this series of games have made a huge impact on the gaming world. And as such, Sora has found himself in large demand to be a fighter for Super Smash Bros. Whether that'll happen or not has always been questionable, what with Square's supposed stinginess of its properties. And of course there's the Disney side of things, which makes Square's stinge look like generosity in comparison. But that's why I'm here, to get us thinking about the possibility of characters that probably never will be in Smash. Okay, that one was my bad. I didn't think it would actually happen. That's a me costume, that doesn't count. Anyways, Sora as a Smash fighter would no doubt be a character with a lot of combo potential to make for a lot of complicated chains that the experienced player could take advantage of. Much like Kingdom Hearts itself, both in gameplay and story. He'd be a fairly acrobatic and mobile character with a below average weight class. He'd have 2 jumps and would be able to both wall jump and wall cling. Now, as to be expected from a character who comes from such a complicated series like Kingdom Hearts, Sora won't exactly be the most straightforward character, and will have a gimmick to reflect this. It will be pretty important to this moveset as a whole, so I'm gonna go ahead and go over that first. Now, this kind of gimmick may sound familiar to some of you, especially to those who've seen my moveset on the Knight from Hollow Knight. It will have the same kind of premise, but a slightly altered presentation and execution. Sora could have a magic meter, one that mimics the bar that we see back in Kingdom Hearts 1, one that's segmented. This bar is essential for Sora to use a good chunk of his attacks, designed specifically for moves that are generally pretty good, but to also limit them to keep spammers from abusing them. The meter will recharge by itself, albeit very slowly, and the amount of time it takes to add a new magic bar will increase the more magic bars you have. This will be signified by a little orange bar that wraps around the blue magic meter, just like the one we see from the first game. But again, recharging by itself is very slow, so the most reliable way to gain more magic would be not from playing defensively, but by going on the offense, with most individual attacks that Sora deals automatically adding a new magic bar. Sora can have a maximum of 21 bars in his meter, allowing for quite a bit of versatility, but again, not too much to the point where they can be very easily spammed. Sora, for all of his attacks, will, of course, make use of his main weapon, the Keyblade, which honestly is less of a blade and more of a blunt object. Well, the Kingdom Key is specifically. There have been literally thousands of different types of Keyblades, and Sora has made use of his fair share, but I think for Smash, he should just stick with the iconic Kingdom Key. The options to have others for alternate costumes could be a thing, but considering how the shape and even the length of some Keyblades drastically differ, I think it might be best just to keep things simple for now. Also, just to give a quick reminder, most of Sora's attacks will be able to add a single magic bar just by connecting their hits to an opponent. So unless I specifically say otherwise, just assume that they're able to do so. Anyways, getting right into things, Sora's jab could have him use his ever-iconic ground combo chain that we see him with in the majority of his games, turning it into a 3-hit jab. Starting with a vertical swing from his Keyblade from high to low for the first hit, then do a quick horizontal stab for the second hit, and then end it with a quick horizontal swing for the final hit. His dash attack could have him use the slide dash ability from Kingdom Hearts 2, a move where Sora quickly closes in on enemies to get up close and personal to start combos quickly. For Smash, it could have Sora lunge forwards with his blade held sideways horizontally, and at the apex of the lunge, halts all momentum with a quick single spin while striking with the blade. The actual lunge deals small flinching damage, and the spin strike will be the launching hit. Also, it'll only be the spin strike that can add a magic bar. The small damage from the lunge won't add any magic at all. His side tilt could be his guard break ability from Kingdom Hearts 2, a move where Sora quickly winds his ki up and then stabs forwards horizontally. It would have a bit of start lag thanks to that wind up, but the trade-off could be that this attack deals a lot of shield damage. It is called guard break after all. Just one hit wouldn't be enough to break a full shield, but allowing yourself to get hit by it twice would be a different story. I suggest not sleeping on this move, otherwise you might be paying Hades an early visit. The up tilt could have Sora use the upper slash ability from Kingdom Hearts 2, which was just a simple vertical key swing from low to high, a move that was great for sending foes into the air, and that's exactly what it would do for Smash to help get some aerial combos started. Nice and simple. His down tilt could be a form of the sliding dash ability, but don't get confused, this isn't the exact same as the slide dash that I used for the dash attack. The sliding dash came from Kingdom Hearts 1, and while it did do a similar thing where it helped close the gap between Sora and foe, that's all it really did. It didn't have an attack at the end. It also had Sora slide with his feet forwards, not just his ki, so this could be your run-of-the-mill slide kick attack that could move Sora forwards while popping opponents in his path into the air. For Sora's side smash, he could use the powerful Ars Arcanum, a deadly limit attack that has Sora swing his Keyblade wildly to deal big damage to his foes. For Smash, he'll swing his Keyblade 3 times to deal 3 powerful attacks, though the thing is, the actual launch capacity for these swings will be a little odd. Each individual swing will have the capability to launch foes, even get KOs, but each swing will also cause a short stun before the launch, so that each follow-up swing will connect. Now that's not it. This attack can also be one that could utilize the magic bar. If you continue to press the attack button during the side smash, Sora could add additional swings to his side smash at the cost of magic, allowing him to extend the length of his side smash. The magic cost of each additional swing will increase each time you use it per side smash. In other words, the first additional swing will only cost 1 bar, the second costs 2, the third costs 3, and so on. So you'd only be able to add a maximum of 6 additional swings if you had a full magic bar, which would use up the entire meter. All of this of course means that the side smash will not recharge the magic meter at all, not even those first 3 automatic hits that don't cost any magic. But as a trade-off, it allows you to deal a lot of damage if need be, or even allow for some mix-ups if you think your foe's going to drop their shield, or if you think your initial attack is going to miss. Just be careful not to mash too much, otherwise you'll end up wasting your entire magic bar without meaning to. For the up smash, Sora could use the Ripple Drive, an attack where Sora could thrust his Keyblade straight into the air and also create a small magical field all around himself. The magical field would deal a lot of small flinching damage and launch foes a fair distance with the final hit. But the strongest part of this attack comes from the Keyblade itself as it stabs up. Getting hit by that will launch the foe much farther than the shield does, and foes hit by the stab will be knocked out of the explosion, causing them to ignore the multi-hitting damage. So this attack will require spacing, as the field is what deals all the damage, but the stab causes the most knockback and has better killing potential. Now with that said, the Ripple Drive actually does have a unique feature, as its power actually does scale based on the magic meter, with it dealing more damage when you have more magic, being at maximum power when you have 21 magic bars. With that said, this attack will also not gain any magic whatsoever, so you can't just spam it in hopes of it getting stronger each time you use it. For Sora's down smash, he could use Explosion, a finisher move where Sora causes a magical explosion all around himself. This move attacks horizontally and deals a lot of multiple flinching hits of damage before launching foes with the final hit. This move will be the only smash attack that can add a magic bar, but only if that final launching hit connects. The multi-hitting damage will not add any magic. For Sora's neutral aerial, he could use the Aerial Spiral ability, which would have him spin in multiple curled up circles with his blade held out, an attack that would deal many hits of damage before launching foes with the final hit. This is another attack where only the final hit will add magic. The multi-hitting part will not add any magic. His forward, back, and up airs could be the motions of his basic aerial combo strings that we see him use, with the forward aerial being his vertical blade swing from high to low, the first hit from his combo string. The back air could have him quickly spin around and do a horizontal blade swing backwards, a slightly animated version of the third hit from his aerial chain, and the up air could be a vertical blade swing from low to high, the second hit from his aerial combo string, a move that's really only effective on foes that are above or in front of Sora. And the down air could have Sora use the Groundbreaker ability, which involves him doing a semi-front flip while swinging his keyblade downwards from front to back. Groundbreaker is an ability that can knock aerial foes into the ground in Kingdom Hearts, so for Smash, it could be a move that can spike foes if it hits the sweet spot, which would be at the bottom of the attack. Sora would grab with one hand and would pummel by headbutting his foes with that thick skull of his. His grabs I think can make for a fun reference to the various reaction commands that we see in Kingdom Hearts 2. The forward throw can be a twist on the fire gun reaction command that Sora can use on the Volcanic Lord boss that he fights in Agrabah, which would just have Sora latch his foe on the keyblade, spin, and then toss them forwards. The back throw could have Sora use Reversal, a command that he can use on the Dusk enemies, which would have Sora quickly slide behind the foe and then whack them with the keyblade, sending them backwards. The up throw can make reference to both the Lance Tug command that can be used on the Lance soldiers, or the Grand Cross command that can be used on the Living Bone enemies. No, not that Grand Cross! This Grand Cross! Which is just the basic airdrop type of throw, having Sora jump high into the air with the foe in hand, and then slams them into the ground, bouncing the foe back into the air. And the down throw could have Sora use the failsafe command that he used on the Assassin Nobodies, which has Sora do a quick spin jump with the foe in hand and then chucks them into the ground, bouncing them slightly into the air. Now for the special attacks! And much to the dismay of those who hate gimmicks, Sora will actually have quite a number of special attacks at his disposal. You see, Sora has done a lot over the years, and has learned a large arsenal of attacks to use, so much so that it was hard to choose just 4. And I'd rather not give him the same treatment as the Dragon Quest hero, I don't see any need for that, and I kinda preferred if that fun feature stays unique to the hero. So for Sora's case, instead of just 4 specials, I gave him 8. Of which of course he can cycle through with the use of his down special. He will have normal attacks that he can use if you simply tap the down special command, I'll go over those later, but holding the down special command down for longer than a second is what will let you shift between Sora's 2 sets of special attacks, of which I'm going to be referring to as stances. The first stance will be known as the AP stance, which uses attacks based on the abilities that Sora can learn and equip at the cost of AP. And the second stance will be a magic stance, which will use attacks based on some of the magic spells that Sora learned to cast over the course of his adventures. Most of these specials will use magic bars, with some of their costs varying depending on how you use them. I'll go over what each of them do as I get to them. So going into the neutral specials, the AP stance version will have Sora use Strike Raid, an attack where Sora turns the Keyblade into a spinning blade of death as he throws it forwards as a projectile, then warps it back to his hand at the apex of the toss. The spinning blade deals a lot of multiple flinching hits of damage, but doesn't really launch foes that far, so it's really only good to rack up damage. Each toss for the Strike Raid requires 1 magic bar to be used, and can't be used at all if no magic is available. Sora cannot move from his spot while the Keyblade isn't in his hand, but you can cancel the attack by pressing the special button again during the attack to have Sora immediately bring the blade back to his hand. Proper timing can allow you to throw the Keyblade again immediately as soon as it returns to Sora's hand, but mashing the special button would be completely detrimental, as all that would do is make Sora keep throwing the Keyblade and immediately bringing it back to his hand, only leading you to waste magic, so this attack does require patience. His magic stance neutral special will have Sora use Blizzaga, his ice spell. Blizzaga, and all of his other spells for that matter, have had many different forms and appearances over the course of the games. So for this moveset, Sora will be using the Kingdom Hearts 1 version of Blizzaga, which had Sora shoot out ice crystals straight forward that spread out the further they go. Each individual ice shard deals damage, so of course, this attack will deal more damage when you hit foes with it at point blank range. This spell requires 1 magic bar to be used, but this attack can also be used 3 times consecutively when the special button is pressed 3 times in a row, with each attack dealing slightly more damage each time it's used until the 3rd shot. And this also allows the shots to come out a little faster than they would if you waited to shoot them normally 1 at a time, allowing for some neat combos. But the extra 2 shots do require an extra magic bar per use, so whereas the first shot only requires 1 bar, the second will require 2, and the final requires 3. so you're gonna need a total of 6 magic bars to do this. So again, if you don't want to unintentionally waste your magic too quickly, you'll need to be patient and not mash your buttons too much. This is pretty much going to be the case for majority of Sora's attacks that allow you to attack consecutively, so keep that in mind. For Sora's AP Stand Side special, he could use the ability that he learned from Cloud at the Olympus Coliseum, the Sonic Blade. This will have Sora thrust himself forwards with the Keyblade stabbing at the front of the attack. It travels a pretty good distance and can even be used as a decent horizontal recovery tool on top of dealing a decent amount of damage to foes. This attack does have a bit of end lag, but like the other specials prior, it can be used consecutively over and over by continually pressing the special button at the cost of 1 magic bar per lunge. This will make it better for combos, and the end lag will only affect you once you actually finish using the attack. His Magic Stance Side special will have him use Furaga, which will be based off its variant from Kingdom Hearts 3. A standard fireball projectile that quickly travels forwards at a pretty far distance, can be slightly angled, and deals a decent amount of damage. It costs 1 bar to use, and like for Blizzaga, it can be used consecutively 3 times, with each additional spell cast adding 1 extra cost required to be used. But this also increases its power and lets it come out quicker than normal. Sora's AP Stance Up special will have him use a kind of combined version of his aerial sweep ability from Kingdom Hearts 2 and the Rising Spiral ability from Kingdom Hearts 3, which has Sora spin in horizontal circles with his Keyblade held out while gaining vertical height in the process. And that's really all it does. It's just a basic recovery attack that can hit foes a few times. The recovery is only average, it doesn't send them all that high, but this special will not use any magic bars and it will not put him into free fall, so he can still move after using it, but it can only be used once while in the air. The Magic Stance Up special will have Sora use the Wind spell, specifically its Kingdom Hearts 3 variant, as in Kingdom Hearts 1, it was only used as a type of damage-reducing shield, and that's all it was. This move will pretty much work just like Sora's fellow Square-Enix colleague, the Hero, having Sora cast a powerful whirlwind underneath himself to send him into the air. It didn't quite work like this in the game, but it could send you into the air if you had Sora step into the whirlwind residue that the hurricane leaves behind, so it's not too far off. But also, just like the Hero, this will come in 3 tiers depending on how long you charge up the spell. Tapping the button will have Sora use Arrow, which will just send him a little bit into the air and only costs 1 magic bar. Holding it down for a bit will have him use Aurora and send you a bit higher, which costs 2 magic bars. And holding it down all the way will have Sora use Eroga, which costs 3 bars and sends you pretty high. Not nearly as high as the Hero's does, but still a decent distance, and it's at least still better than the height that the Aerial Sweep sends you. In fact, even Aurora will send you even higher than Aerial Sweep, but not Arrow. That's his weakest in terms of vertical recovery. All of the whirlwinds left behind deal a lot of multiple flinching hits of damage before launching the foes with the final hit, with the higher tiered spells dealing even more damage. Again, just like Heroes. Now for the down specials, just as a quick reminder, stance change will only happen if you hold the button, but just tapping it will have Sora actually use different attacks. The AP Stance Down special will have him use Guard, which will act as your run-of-the-mill counter attack, having Sora use Counter Slash if he counters a normal attack, and will use Reflega if he counters a projectile. However, Reflega will only come out if you have a single bar of magic to spare for it. If you don't, then Sora will just negate the projectile instead. He'll always use Counter Slash though if that activates, he doesn't need any magic for that. And finally, his Magic Stance Down special will have Sora use the lightning spell Thundaga. Thundaga has pretty much been the same throughout all of the games, having lightning bolts strike the ground. For Smash, this will work kinda like Pikachu's Thunder attack, times 2. 2 lightning bolts will be cast from high up and strike at the ground on both sides of Sora. Now, unlike Pikachu's very spammable Thunder attack, Sora's Thundaga will only deal knockback to foes if they're hit by the bottom of the bolt that hits the ground. Any part of the attack higher than that will only deal damage. And of course, just like Blizzaga and Furaga before it, using this spell only costs 1 magic bar, but you can use it 3 times consecutively to increase its damage and the speed that it comes out, but at the cost of additional bars added per use. Overall, the specials are designed in such a way so that you can make really good use out of them when conserved properly, and nobody should be spamming them, as that will only lead to you having issues in the long run if you do so. Oh, and speaking of nobody, Sora's nobody, Roxas, the being that came into existence when Sora turned himself into a Heartless to save Kairi and the other princesses of light. Or came into non-existence, because apparently nobodies don't actually exist, except they actually do, so you know what, I'm not even opening that can of worms. This incarnation of Roxas will be semi-based on his version from the game Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days, so Roxas will also be fighting with the Kingdom Key instead of the dual-wielding Keyblades that we've been seeing from him nowadays. As such, really, he'll be identical to Sora mechanically, with the only major differences being their aesthetic animations. And really, this is the biggest reason why Roxas is an Echo Fighter and not just a costume. While Roxas and Sora have a near-identical fighting style, their personalities are very different. Sora's generally very happy-go-lucky, whereas Roxas is a lot more stoic, collected, and even outright pessimistic at times. He has his silly moments, yes, but that's generally only with close friends, and it's still nowhere near as goofy as Sora can get at times. I guess that's just what happens when you spend most of your time hanging out with Disney characters. For Sora's final smash? What do I even use for this? There's too many options here. Sora has done a lot over the years that could be classified as a final smash. You know what? Forget it. I'm just gonna rapid fire a bunch of ideas for this one, and you guys can pick your favorites. He could use his Ragnarok attack, a cinematic final smash where he barrages the foe with a flurry of hits, then shoots them with many magical blasts. Or if he wanted to incorporate the shot lock version of the Ragnarok in Kingdom Hearts 3, it could work kinda like Snake's current final smash, where if a foe gets locked on by the player's reticle, they'd be barraged with many magical bullets. He could shoot them with the Keyblade beam, which could be a straightforward final smash like Link or Dark Pits, a move that requires perfect aim but has high kill potential. He could have a cinematic final smash where he turns into his final form from Kingdom Hearts 2, either that or turn into his ultimate form from Kingdom Hearts 3. He could get assistance from the Gummy Ship and fire a barrage of laser artillery into the foes, or maybe he can get some assistance from the Dream Eaters. That'd be cute, wouldn't it? And that's all just assuming that Disney wouldn't be allowed into the game. If it were, Sora can unleash his Trinity Limit attack with the assistance of Donald and Goofy, or he could even use some of the many Disney attraction attacks from Kingdom Hearts 3 in the form of a cinematic final smash of some kind. Oh, right, and Roxas could just use his Limit Break from 358, the Event Horizon, which could just be your run-of-the-mill cinematic final smash. For Sora's colors, his default would have him in the attire that we see in Kingdom Hearts 3, and he can have an alternate costume where he dons his Kingdom Hearts 2 attire. I'd throw his Kingdom Hearts 1 look in there, but he did look way younger when he wore that compared to his newer outfits, and it might look a little weird. Anyways, for the first color for the KH3 getup, it could give Sora the yellow colors of the Guardian form. The next and first for his KH2 look could give him the blue colors of the Wisdom form. Next for KH3 could be the green colors of the Blitz form. Then for KH2 he can have the red colors of Valor form. And the last for KH3 could give him the white colors of the Ultimate form. And finally for KH2, it could make his whole body black and give him yellow eyes, in reference to the Anti form. For Roxas, he could by default be wearing the signature black cloak. And it can have a single alternate color that makes the coat and Roxas's hair red, in reference to his best friend, Axel. The next could give Roxas an alternate outfit where he dons his casual getup, the same that we see at the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 2. And this could give him an alternate color that would give him the colors of Roxas's other friend from Twilight Town, Hayner. Now for the 4 remaining alts, this could be a whole new costume where instead of Roxas, we could have his other best friend, Xion. Xion was created by Organization 13 by placing fragments of Sora's memory of Kairi into a blank replica body, and as such, also wields the Kingdom Key and even fights just like Sora and Roxas. So why not make her an alternate costume for Roxas? She'd of course be shown in her black cloak, and could even have an alternate color that makes her cloak a tint of blue and gives her blonde hair, in reference to her creator, Vexen. Then she can have an alternate costume where she wears her own casual getup, just like we see her in at the end of Kingdom Hearts 3. And this outfit can have a single alternate color that makes it pink and gives Xion red hair, in reference to Kairi, since, as I mentioned before, she was created from the fragments of Sora's memories of Kairi. Now for the stage intro, Sora would fly in the Gummy Ship, and would hop onto the stage as the ship passes by. Roxas and Xion, on the other hand, would come to stages through the Portals of Darkness, a pathway that all members of Organization 13 can use when traveling across worlds. For taunts, Sora's first could have him put his hands behind his head and say, "Come on, this ship runs on happy faces," in reference to what Donald and Goofy tell him when they first meet. The second can have Sora pull out the gummy phone that he gets in KH3 and then take a selfie while saying, "Cheese!" Out of all of the most disrespectful taunts that I've come up with for this show, I don't think it can get any worse than this. And his final taunt could have the Dream Eater Meow Wow pop in out of nowhere and bounce around Sora. Then Sora will pet it for a bit before it disappears. And for Roxas and Xion's taunts, they're first gonna have him simply point their Keyblade forwards. Roxas would say, "You won't forget this!" And Xion would say, "Don't hold back." Their second can have them swing their Keyblades around before assuming a battle-ready stance. Roxas during this could say, "I am me, nobody else." And Xion could say, "I won't give in." And for their final taunts, it can have them find a random seashell on the ground, pick it up, hold it to their ear, and then put it into their pocket. In reference to how both Roxas and Xion like to collect seashells during their missions to give to one another whenever the other was out of commission. And finally, for victory animations, Sora's first could show him locking a keyhole floating in the air like he does at the end of worlds in his games. After he does, he'll say, "Alright, on to the next world." His second could have him do one of his animations from the first game after winning a round at the Olympus Cup, which involved him spinning his Keyblade around and then posing with it on his shoulder, which by the way is in reference to Cloud's victory animation, which Sora totally just ripped off. But I felt it appropriate to do here since Cloud is the big face of Final Fantasy and is even in Smash after all. How do you think Sora would react to seeing Cloud here? Would this Cloud even recognize him? I doubt it since the Cloud in Kingdom Hearts is from a whole separate continuity. This exchange overall will probably just lead to a very awkward conversation. Anyways, for Sora's final pose, it would start with just a shadow loitering on the screen, and Sora quickly zips it from off-screen and annihilates it, freeing the heart that was trapped while also holding the pose and smiling at the camera. And finally for Roxas and Xion, their first can have them just pull out a bar of their favorite sea salt ice cream, have a seat on the ground, and start eating it, in reference to their overabundant love of eating sea salt ice cream. Seriously, it's all they eat. It's like, someone take these poor kids to go see Remy or something. Get them a real meal. Anyways, their second could have them swing their Keyblade around, make it disappear, and then pose. During this, Roxas could say, "I had a lot of fun fighting you." And Xion could say, "I'm sorry." She apologized a lot. Poor girl's a little self-conscious. I wonder why. And for their final victory animation, it can be an equivalent to Sora's final pose, starting with Roxas or Xion just standing there until a Neo shadow emerges from the ground behind them and tries to attack. But it's quickly cut down in the blink of an eye by the nobody. Then they just watch as the heart freed from the shadow floats into the sky. And that does it for the Keyblade wielder Sora with Roxas and Xion as his Echo Fighters. While I do think the actual likelihood of them getting in is low due to various reasons, I won't deny that they'd be a blast to play in Smash. Whether you love or hate the story of Kingdom Hearts, it's hard to say that its gameplay is anything but fun. There's a reason why so many people want Sora in Smash, and I know that he'd put smiles on a lot of people's faces and would give them nothing but joy in their hearts. Okay, that was corny even by my standards, sorry about that. Anyways, if you liked what you saw and would like to see even more characters be given possible Smash movesets, be sure to subscribe. And if you'd like to support the show and help me be able to make more content for you guys while also getting some perks for doing so, you can click the join button below the video to become a member of my channel. I really appreciate anything that can be contributed. And of course, if you have a character that you'd like to see be given a possible Smash moveset, leave a comment down below, or contact me on Twitter at RalphFan1 on Twit. I hope you all enjoyed, and thank you so much for watching!